Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. The woman in this photo is Henrietta Lacks. Back then, she was suffering from cervical cancer, and her tumor was growing aggressively. It was from her cervical tissue that HeLa cells, the world's first truly immortal human cells, were extracted. She was a mother of 5. She first felt a lump in her cervix, while pregnant with her 5th child. Due to her husband's promiscuous behavior, doctors initially suspected she had contracted syphilis, but the test result came back negative. Later, she underwent a tumor biopsy. Her attending physician Howard Jones took her tumor samples privately for cell culture. She never knew anything about how those samples would be used afterwards. Back in that era, patients had almost no right to informed consent in medical treatment. Unlike regular human cells which die quickly in lab environments, HeLa cells showed incredible resilience. Just 3 weeks into Henrietta's radiation treatment, the medical community discovered these extraordinary immortal cells. Cancer treatments back then were brutal. Doctors would place lead blocks inside her body, and suture radioactive radium directly onto her cervix. Radiation killed cancer cells, yet it also damaged healthy cells indiscriminately. After round of radiation, Henrietta was in excruciating pain. Her skin from the pelvis, abdomen, all the way to her chest, turned pitch black. She kept telling doctors how much she hurt, but was always told there was nothing wrong. Eventually, cervical cancer claimed Henrietta's life. Just half a year after her passing, HeLa cells were already being used in experiments to develop the polio vaccine. From then on, massive quantities of HeLa cells were shipped to laboratories across the globe, traded constantly, and applied to all kinds of medical research. Scientists have made rough calculations. The total weight of all HeLa cells existing worldwide today reaches 50 million metric tons. If placed end to end, they would stretch more than 100,000 kilometers, long enough to circle the Earth 3 times. Henrietta herself stood barely over 1.5 meters tall. These tiny cells have multiplied beyond imagination. No one could have imagined that this ordinary mother would impact the world in such an extraordinary way. HeLa cells have helped humanity develop the polio vaccine, advance chemotherapy technology, make breakthroughs in cloning research, map the human genome, drive the development of in vitro fertilization, and support the research and development of countless anti-cancer drugs. They have also opened up new perspectives and endless possibilities for human research on anti-aging and longevity. HeLa cells can divide infinitely and stay active forever outside the human body. This has raised a big question. Can humans unlock the secret to immortality through these cells? HeLa cells have changed the world profoundly, yet Henrietta's family knew nothing about all of this. It was not until 22 years after her death that her family first heard of HeLa cells. Her daughter Deborah once said with helplessness, "These cells have benefited the whole world, but our own family even struggles to afford medical treatment. It is truly heartbreaking." Fortunately, in August 2023, Thermo Fisher Scientific reached a confidential settlement with her family. Outside sources speculate that the family received compensation worth tens of millions of US dollars, along with a series of commemorative arrangements. Why exactly can HeLa cells achieve immortality? They replicate non-stop under suitable conditions, and the root cause lies in a mutated telomerase. Normal human cells are limited by the Hayflick limit. They can divide only 40 to 60 times at most. Telomeres, at the ends of chromosomes, shorten with each cell division. Once telomeres are completely worn out, the cell dies. Telomerase, discovered in 1984, can produce new telomeres and lengthen them. This is the key reason why HeLa cells break the boundary of cell division. Many people may wonder, if telomerase can repair telomeres, can we activate it continuously to achieve human immortality? The answer is no. Human bodies have extremely strict regulatory mechanisms for telomerase, and it is nearly impossible to intervene artificially. Only special cells, such as hematopoietic stem cells and germ cells, can repair shortened telomeres with the help of telomerase. Telomerase remains inactive for regular mature body cells when their telomeres wear down. What makes HeLa cells unique is that they were infected with the HPV virus. Viral DNA invades human cells and alters the p53 tumor suppressor gene. This prevents the body from repairing errors during cell division, and lets those errors pile up. Meanwhile, it forces normally dormant telomerase to stay highly active. Non-stop cell division leads to fatal cancer inside the human body. Yet in a laboratory setting, this ability turns HeLa cells into the immortal cell model scientists have long dreamed of, breaking the Hayflick limit, and providing critical references for aging research. You must be curious now. What really causes human aging? And what are the underlying mechanisms? So far, the scientific community has put forward several classic aging theories. One well-known theory is the disposable soma theory, proposed by Thomas Kirkwood. It states that all species have limited resources and have to make a choice. They can either reproduce rapidly and live short lives, or reproduce slowly and maintain their bodies for a longer time. For example, mice live for roughly 3 years and sustain their species through fast reproduction. Birds of prey at the top of the food chain reproduce slowly, but can live for 100 years or more. There are two other mainstream theories. The DNA damage theory argues that aging results from continuous DNA damage and the loss of genetic information. The era catastrophe theory suggests that accumulated gene mutations during DNA replication disrupt bodily functions and eventually break down the genome. None of these theories are perfect though, and no single explanation can fully cover all features of human aging. In fact, all current aging theories are just reasonable interpretations based on existing research. They will definitely be updated and replaced by more accurate scientific conclusions in the future. The core common trait behind all aging phenomena is the constant loss of biological information. Most visibly, this shows as telomere shortening during cell division. To truly understand aging, we need to travel back 4 billion years to ancient Earth. Back then, the planet had no oxygen, extremely high temperatures, frequent volcanic eruptions, and lightning. It was an extremely harsh environment. It was in this hostile world that the last universal common ancestor of all living things emerged. This ancient ancestral cell evolved a set of genetic survival mechanisms, relying on two genes, gene A and gene B, working together. When the environment is stable, the silencing protein encoded by gene B turns off gene B and lets cells divide and reproduce normally. Once DNA breaks, due to cosmic rays, the protein from gene B detaches from gene A. It prioritizes DNA repair and activates gene A to pause all cell reproduction until the damaged genes are fixed. This special mutation helped the ancient ancestors' cells survive mass extinction events. These cells evolved generation after generation, and eventually gave rise to all life on Earth. This ancient survival mechanism still exists in the genes of every human being. This brings us to epigenetics, a concept put forward by Conrad Waddington in 1942. Epigenetics explains why cells with identical DNA can develop into skin cells, nerve cells, kidney cells, and other different cell types. Disorder in epigenetic information will gradually cause the decline and aging of human organs and tissues. Scientists have discovered more than 20 groups of longevity genes in the human body. These genes form a full-body monitoring network, keeping track of our diet, exercise, and physical conditions. They lie dormant to protect the body in tough times, and support growth and reproduction when the body is in good shape. Among them, the core sirtuin proteins regulate the folding and activation of DNA, and control DNA repair and reproduction mechanisms. Here is a vivid piano player metaphor. Our entire genetic system is like a giant piano, and epigenetics is the pianist. Everyone shares the same basic DNA, but differences in daily habits, sleep, diet, and mindset make the pianist play completely different melodies. Take a pair of twins for instance. If one smokes, stays up late, and lives an irregular life, while the other keeps a healthy routine, their aging conditions will be vastly different. What is more, the pianist can never play perfectly forever. Our bodies sustain damage every single day. Every cell division causes damage to our 46 chromosomes. The human body endures over 2 trillion DNA breaks every day. On top of that, exposure to environmental radiation, medical radiation, and chemical substances keeps adding up genetic errors. This is the fundamental cause of human aging. Persistent DNA damage, disordered gene regulation, gradual loss of cell activity, and eventual cell death. These changes manifest externally as gray hair, wrinkles, stiff joints, and declining physical functions. If we can intervene at any link in this aging chain, we can effectively slow down aging and extend our lifespan. So what practical steps can ordinary people take to fight aging and stay healthy based on science? First, we need to understand that 4 major modern health threats, heart disease, cancer, Alzheimer's disease, and type 2 diabetes, are all closely linked to excess body fat. Extra fat leads to fatty liver disease, insulin resistance, and hardening of the blood vessels, damaging organs throughout the body. Traditional medical treatment mostly deals with problems after they occur. Real anti-aging starts with prevention. The most effective and core method is moderate calorie restriction, or simply eating less. Many people think they gain weight no matter what they eat. This is usually caused by constant snacking and improper dieting. Eating moderately and maintaining mild hunger does not mean starving or malnutrition. It activates the ancient longevity genes and survival pathways inside our bodies, strengthens cellular defense, reduces epigenetic damage, and slows aging. Studies on residents of Okinawa, as well as experiments on rats and rhesus monkeys, have proven that proper calorie control significantly extends lifespan. Even cutting calorie intake by 30% starting in middle age brings notable health benefits. You do not need to follow extreme strict diets. Here are 2 easy-to-follow methods. The first is the 16-8 intermittent fasting schedule. Have breakfast later and dinner earlier. Cut out fried foods, refined grains, and processed fast food in the morning. Eat normally for lunch, and keep dinner light, low in oil, and mainly soup-based. Never eat anything if you feel hungry late at night. The second is the 5-2 intermittent fasting style. Reduce calorie intake moderately on 2 non-consecutive days each week. It is easy to stick to and works well for anti-aging. The second key method is regular physical activity. Research from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows that people who go for a half-hour jog 5 days a week have telomeres nearly 10 years younger than those who lead a sedentary lifestyle. Proper exercise puts mild stress on the body, activates longevity genes, increases microblood vessels in muscles, and improves oxygen supply. You do not need high-intensity over-exhausting workouts. Running a total of 6 to 8 kilometers every week can cut the risk of heart disease by 45% and reduce the overall mortality rate by 30%. One thing to note is that light activities like slow walking have limited effects. Try moderate to high-intensity interval workouts that raise your heart rate and breathing. The third fundamental rule is quality sleep. The ideal sleep duration for most people is 7.5 to 8.5 hours. Very few people are born with the gene that allows them to function well on little sleep. A full sleep cycle lasts 90 to 110 minutes. Long-term sleep deprivation and staying up late are top contributors to aging and illness. Try drinking coffee in the morning to stay awake. Do not stay up late to build up tiredness for sleep, and get all your rest during the night. Never rely on alcohol to fall asleep, as it only leads to shallow, low-quality sleep. The fourth indispensable part is emotion management. Negative feelings, such as stress, anxiety, and irritability, speed up the aging process. You can adjust your mindset with the ABC mindset training method. It is not events themselves that make us angry, but our fixed thoughts about them. Learn to accept others, and take control of yourself. Stop overthinking and dwelling on negative feelings. Free yourself from emotional distress. A peaceful mind is one of the best ways to stay healthy. Besides these, moderate cold exposure can boost the body's repair abilities. On the contrary, smoking, excessive alcohol consumption, a sedentary lifestyle, and long-term intake of processed food continuously damage your health and accelerate aging. I know many of you are going through tough times, and may fall into negative thoughts, or give up easily. But life is full of ups and downs. Hard times never last. Human living standards and average lifespan keep rising steadily. Instead of chasing eternal life, we should learn to take care of our physical and mental health, and enjoy life with wisdom within our limited time. Small adjustments to your daily schedule, diet, and mindset can greatly improve your physical and mental state. All lives come to an end. Just like Henrietta, whose cells carry on in another form. Life's meaning is never limited to physical existence. Aging is inevitable, but we do not have to accept it passively. Healthy daily habits, a peaceful mind, and continuous scientific exploration can make our lives stronger and more meaningful. Individual lives are finite, yet humanity's pursuit of health and the secrets of life will go on forever. Cherish the present moment, live fully, and keep a warm heart. This is the best way to fight aging and honor life.